Welcome back to the MMASucka channel. Today I'm joined Lauren Raey. Rhea, who knows? Everybody supposedly is Lauren surname. Lauren, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. We just had a brief chat off air, and it's one of those where you get wrong named a lot, and yet you haven't got too difficult to announce, which is must get a little bit frustrating.
I'm used to it now. It's been
So
it's pronounced wrong for years.
yeah, don't worry, I'm in the exact same, but my second name is Krohn. I get crane, all sorts. So it's one of those things. So take me back to the beginning. How to combat sports, and how long you've been doing it.
Well, I actually started when I was about 13. I got into Muay Thai. Just that I actually went to a karate competition to watch my best friend compete, and I thought I'd like to do martial arts. And then my cousin at the time was doing Muay Thai and had my first fight not long after, and fought through my teenage years, and I had a big break. And it wasn't until the last few years I've got into MMA.
And how was it up in the? I'm assuming you grew up in the UK.
Yeah.
So go because it's not a traditional. I mean, it's not a traditional sport for males, but as a female, it's especially not kind of like a traditional sport. How was that growing up and having to go to school with I hope too many bruises because you're not getting hit too often, but hypothetically speaking, a couple of cuts and bruises.
Yeah, I don't know. Like in Carlisle, there's quite a lot of Muay Thai fighters, and there's a couple of good gyms. So it's out of the ordinary a young girl doing it, but generally people knew about the sport. And I was always kind of one of the only females in the gym. We had a couple of women. There was one called Jackie Short that like she was a world champion. So there was one or two now and again, but I was kind of like around lads a lot, which was again strange for like a young teenage girl, but it was all right. They're like brothers.
I mean, it's worked out for you, so it couldn't have been a bad thing. And you mentioned just then you took a break from Muay Thai and only got into MMA in recent years. Why the break? Did you struggle to then get back into it? What was it back into the sort of combat sports, as it were?
Well, truthfully, I'd kind of lost the love for it. So I was about 19 when I stopped, and I moved to London for uni, and I was just basically a party animal for a few years. I did absolutely no training at all, and it wasn't until I moved back to Carlisle and I was out of shape. I was, not healthy at all, and I thought I'm going to get back into training. And then I couldn't actually get matched on any Muay Thai shows, so that's why I did the transition over to MMA.
And how did you found that trans? Because obviously, for those who don't know, you very sort of prominent in the amateur world. You silver medalist at last year's IMMAF tournament in Albania. Am I
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So how is that transitioning from Muay Thai, where it's you in a way limited to amateur world of mixed martial arts when you're still limited as to what you can sort of throw at it. It's much more well rounded.
Yeah, I don't. I think in MMA there's actually more opportunity for women to get recognised quicker and to get on the bigger promotions quicker. Um, yeah, because when I got back into Muay Thai, I couldn't actually get matched on anything, so I don't know how far I could have taken it. I had a few fights in Thailand, but they were kind of just filler fights, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
Because I couldn't get any MMA fights over there, so it's really difficult as a female to get fights generally, but that's why you can work your way up quickly. So there's just more opportunity for MMA, which is kind of why I made the move over anyway.
And are you taking to obviously like you're in MMA now for a while, but taking to the ground game because obviously like you kind of said you've got that background in Muay Thai, so you're more maybe more comfortable on the as I've seen in a couple of your fights, you average on the feet. So how are you taking to the ground game?
Well, I'm learning all the time. I put a lot of work into getting better there because obviously I'm a striker, so that's where I'm most comfortable. You can see that in my fights. But I work all the time on my ground game. So I go to a gym called Raey Rollers in Carlisle. I went to Brazil. That's like a BJJ gym, and they do MMA as well. I
Mm.
train a lot with Dan Cassell down in Wolverhampton. I went to Brazil for a while, competed over there. So I'm constantly like pushing my ground game because I want to be an all-round fighter, but obviously striking's my bread and butter, and I love it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're pretty good at it, so kind of stick to what you're good at. Like, and I
Thank you.
saw, how much. Obviously, you like I say, you competed at the IMMAF the finals, and we just lost out narrowly in the final. But how much training are you getting in with the likes of Kelly, who's the head coach? I've seen you on your Instagram. But for me, it's up in Liverpool. Guess it's down in
Mhm.
Liverpool for you,
Yeah.
training Molly McCann and the guys at Next Gen. So you, you know, as you've alluded to there, you've been down in Wolverhampton and whatnot, training at multiple different gyms. You man up a lot of new sort of techniques and skills.
Yeah, because I don't actually have a home MMA gym, I kind of just travel around a bit. Um, so I work a lot with Dan. He's obviously one of the England coaches. Molly's one of the England coaches. I go down and spar with Molly. I'm going to both of them next week, because I'm back in camp. And yeah, I just kind to be honest, I know sometimes it's frowned upon like moving around gyms and not, but I don't actually have a home gym, so it's
Mm.
just one of them. Unless I move to another city full time, this is what I've got to do. I've got to travel for sparring. I've got to travel to get the specialized things, but it works for me, and I get the best of both worlds. Well, all
Yeah,
worlds really.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And is it you alluded to there that you're back in camp as of next week? And I saw was it I think it was the end of last week, beginning of this week that you signed for Pallas Athena on
Hmm.
March 9th in Oda.
Yeah.
So is that a professional bout?
No, it's still amateur.
Still amateur.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they did any bouts on there. How did that sort of come about? Did they get in contact with you? I haven't seen your IMMAF success or
Actually, I contacted them a while ago. They've got a registration thing on the website, and this was when I lived in Thailand. And I've said for ages I've really wanted to fight on the show. And I spoke to someone who's affiliated with it, Kieran Keddle. I know him from like Muay Thai years ago.
mm,
And I spoke to him, and he put me in contact with like the organisation and stuff. And they've sorted as a fight that way. I just found it myself.
and so what was it about Pallas Athena that made you want contact with them? Because obviously, from my understanding, I'm pretty sure female sort of promotion. You've had the likes of Ichivo's obviously competed on there and gone on to do really well. Got Lexi Rook, I think, signed for the same fight card as yourself, and she's competed on there before. It's about them that is it the fact that they give fighters a chance, or is it just the fight that the cards kind of coincided with for you?
Well, I like traveling around and fighting, so that's kind of the goal with my career. I like going to new countries and fighting out of different places. Canada's obviously an amazing place to go to, and it's an all-female promotion, which is interesting as well.
Mm.
Usually on the promotions, you get one or two female fights, and the rest are all lads. So it'll be really interesting doing that, and it's just a good show. You can tell the girls that have gone on it, they've kind of stepped up a level after it, and that's what I want to do. I just want to keep progressing, keep getting on the bigger shows, and go from there. Really.
So, and like you said, then it's an amateur. Are you competing? You see aims to compete at IMMAF again this year. Kind of, because I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure about how the process for IMMAF works. So can you talk to me a little bit about that? Even though you're competing, sort of, obviously you should compete outside of IMMAF as well. But
Hmm.
how would that work out sort of timings wise with competing at Pallas Athena and I'm
Well, IMMAF's the next tournament is in April. Well, it's the very end of March, so I'll have like 3 weeks between it,
mm,
which is fine. Basically, if you fight for IMMAFs, you can't do pro fights, so in any discipline. So I couldn't have like a pro Thai fight, couldn't have a pro MMA fight. So you've got to stay amateur if you want to compete for your country in IMMAFs. So I just took this fight because obviously it's an amazing opportunity, and then it's only one. It's not like I'm doing four in a row like at IMMAFs. So hopefully there won't be any injuries, there won't be much damage, and then I can fight in Serbia a couple of weeks later.
And how do you feel? You alluded to there, obviously, as we know, IMMAF you compete. Is it every sort of day, a couple of times a day sometimes? How do you find how do you do that? Do you have a better phrase? You see the guys and girls at various sport, they'll have, one fight every year or one fight, 10, 11 months. How are you competing so early?
Honestly, at the time I was genuinely thinking that, like, how am I doing this? After that first fight, I was thinking, I can't believe I've got to do this tomorrow. And then after the second fight, when I took a lot of damage, same thing, like, oh, I can't believe I've got to do this again tomorrow, another 2 fights. But I kind of like that about it. It's savage, but you're pushing yourself all the time, and it's exciting. You're in the same process. It was actually the day off that kind of threw me between my third fight and the fourth fight. I wish we just fought again the next day, and we had no time to relax. As long as you don't think too much about it, and you just like stick to making weight, early night up for the weigh in, and then a few hours later you're fighting. It's just so quick. It moves fast.
And
But
so you're
by the
having
end,
to make.
I needed a break.
Yeah, I'm not a couple of weeks off at least. So are you having to meet before every single fight then?
Sorry, what was that?
Are you having to make weight before every fight? You don't just make weight beforehand and then balloon up,
No,
as it were.
you make it every morning.
So it's not just the go age and fighting, but it's the managing the weight after. I've won a fight. I'm gonna, you know.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
God.
literally you can't relax, especially if you've got any weight to drop. Then you're doing that on the night, then up again early. Like you sometimes weighing in at 6 in the morning because you want to get it out of the way and refuel. I didn't sleep for about 3 days.
So it's not like
It was just crazy, the whole experience, but amazing as well.
you say you didn't sleep for three. You also alluded to you had maybe some experience of that in your party years in down in London. So it's you practice for it without it really.
Well,
Um,
that's it. I'm conditioned.
exactly. So that's say end of March, early April in Serbia. What's the sort of goal? Obviously, the goal is to come away with Team England. What's the rest of 2024 look like for you? Are you looking to go pro? And are you happy to sort of stick around in the amateurs and hopefully defend that IMMAF gold next year?
No, I definitely want to go pro as soon as I can, really. There's there's still some things that I need to learn and get better at. So I'm using, my next few amateur fights to do that, to face a bit of adversity before I move to the pro ranks. And yeah, I want to go pro as quickly as possible. But I know I need to be patient. I need to, fix anything that I need to work on before I step up.
And when you do go pro, is there a certain promotion in mind? Or are you happy to kind of just, you know, if off the back of somebody offers you a contract, are you happy just to kind of take anyone to go pro, or are you sort of going to be a little bit more picky with you sort of signed with?
I'll definitely be picky with who I sign with. Obviously, I'm gonna need like advice on this, but yeah, I'm aiming high. I won't just sign with the first offer. I'm gonna be wise with my career. I'm 30 now. I don't have years and years and years, so I need to do it properly. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, aiming high with it.
And when you eventually, you do go pro, get that contract, you alluded to didn't have a MMA team up in Carlisle. So is it going to be maybe moving down to, for example, a Liverpool for a prolonged period of time at your fight camp, or are you still going to try and well how you're doing it now, but go pro? Are you going to try and change things up a bit, or is that just kind of that bridge when we get to it?
It's a hard decision for me because I was actually never supposed to be coming home. I moved out to Thailand, but it was so difficult to get amateur MMA fights. There was literally no girls, so that's why I ended up coming home, and it's worked out well because now I've got an amazing support team around us.
Mm.
Um, So I'm not sure. I might base myself in Carlisle, and when I'm in camp, travel around like I'm doing now. I've got yeah, I've got a good team up here. I've got an amazing BJJ club, Roger Rollers, like I said. I've got an amazing boxing coach here. It's sparring and partners that I lack. Like luckily, my partner, he is like a similar size, and he's an unreal striker, and he's developing with his jits all the time and stuff as well. So I've got him. I need women. That's why I need to travel around a lot. And obviously, Dan Cassell's kind of taken the lead with things recently, and I'll have to spend some time down there with him as well. So yeah, probably similar to what I'm doing now, I think, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
Yeah, yeah. And is there sort of, obviously you're kind of the, so heap any pressure on you, but you're kind of the next male amateur that we're kind of keeping an eye on. Lisa Zimmer's now gone pro, I believe. We had Chanel or Dwyer,
Yeah.
for butchering her name. Heap any sort of extra pressure on you at this graph, or is that just kind of you just taking that in your stride? It's just another fight to you, kind of like, a little bit on your shoulders.
Yeah, like there obviously is pressure. I felt massive pressure last time because I did do IMMAFs last February, and I got armbarred in my first fight, and I was out the first round. So coming back, I thought I can't let that happen again. I needed to show those improvements. So there was pressure there, and now obviously because I did so well in the last one, people are expecting big things, but I'm working just as hard, if not harder. And and I know that I can beat these girls. So there's pressure, but I've got confidence to back me now.
And sort of, do you take any sort of because we Melissa Dixon, who's obviously competing for now, gone on. She's competing in the UFC.
Mhm.
We've got we've got quite a good of female British mixed match now with, like I say, Melissa Dixon, Dakota Ditchover. You've got obviously got Molly. You got a whole host of, Lexi Rook had quite a big amateur career before going pro. Do you take inspiration from these girls? 'Cause it kind of been a little bit that we had that kind of British contingent of women coming. It was a slow start for the men, and now the women are starting to slowly catch up. Are you taking sort of in from what these guys and girls are doing for Britain as a whole when you go pro, taking inspiration from what they've done previously?
Definitely. I have a lot of respect for everyone that you've mentioned and loads of other female fighters from the UK. Everyone seems to be absolutely smashing it. So they're kind of paving the way, and I'm following in their footsteps. So it gives us confidence to see other females doing so well as well. But yeah, I take inspiration from them all. Like I follow them all on Instagram. I try and train with as many as possible. I'm constantly speaking with people for advice. So yeah, definitely.
There's no one specifically you've got a kind of target on their back and that you want to try and get pro. Or is it just we'll take every fight as it comes?
Literally take every fight as it comes. I'm kind of in between weight classes at the minute as well. So this next fight will be my first fight at strawweight. So I need to see how I feel at that weight because my previous fights have been at fly. So that's another thing, like which division I feel most comfortable in. And then I'll take it from there. But I think it probably will be strawweight because I'm already like cutting down the weight now and I feel good, feel strong and quick. So it probably will be that division. So it'll be a whole new group of girls now that I'm looking at.
Yeah, exactly. And for the IMAF, like you say, you've been competing at fly, and now you're going down to strawweight for your March 9th, I think is
Yeah.
the card. Yeah. So for IMAF, you back up to flyweight to be able to make the weight constantly. As you're going to try and stick quite low, try and make strawweight every day. Like you say, you make every day, it seems a bit.
Honestly, making strawweight every day would kill me. It's hard. It's hard enough making fly every day. So yeah, I'll be still in the flyweight division for IMAF just because it's same day weighing, and I want to be going in healthy and strong and not depleted. So definitely flyweight.
Yeah, and I mean that. I guess that's good as well. Like you said, if you know you can make strawweight, which you're going to be doing in March, to have that option of Okay, I'll take flyweight. I'll be a strawweight, but I can mend the size flyweight, which I guess is something that's feather in your cap.
Yeah, definitely, and it's good for these tournaments that you've got that option as well. And then because I only need to worry about one fight if I fight outside of IMMAFs, I can have the choice of going to strawweight because I know that I can do it.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got Athena next month, March the 9th, and then in the March we've got IMMAFs, and then hopefully the back of a gold medal will go out on the top of the game and make the pro debut.
Definitely, I just need to see what opportunities come up, and yeah, see what happens in these next few fights and go from there. I don't want to rush anything because I know I've still got a lot to learn. I've been in the game not even 2 years, like doing MMA, so I've still got loads of things to learn and improve on, and cage time to acquire before I worry about going pro. But yeah, it's definitely on the cards.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm really excited to see you on Pallas Athena. Like a good, I think there's yourself and two of the emails on there.
Yeah,
Obviously catching IMMAFs at the end of next month. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you giving up your Valentine's Day afternoon to speak to me. But yeah, I really appreciate it.
thank you.